The second type of continental landforms are called plateaus. Plateaus are elevated upland that is of a height that is from 600 to about 300 meters above sea level. It extends fairly to the adjacent lowland. So in Spanish, they are called mesa, but they are also referred to as table top or table lands. So example of these plateaus that we have a tectonic plateau, we also have a volcanic plateau, we also have a third type, which is erosional or dissected plateau. First, let's look at tectonic plateau. Tectonic plateau are caused, like the name implies, tectonic, by what we refer to as tectonic processes like faulting and folding that is acting on the Earth's surface. So this will now make the Earth to be elevated. But when a tectonic plateau is surrounded by a fold mountain, it becomes an intermont plateau or intermonte. Examples of tectonic plateaus that we have: the Deccan Plateau in India, which is a continental block. We also have the tilted plateau of Meseta in central Iberia, the faulted Alps in Germany. Then intermont plateaus that we have, examples of the word intermont plateaus, we have Bolivian plateau that is between the range or ranges of Andes, which is a fold mountain. We also have Tibetan plateau, which is between Himalayas mountain and Cologne. These plateaus, they are formed over time in places where we have fold mountains. So let's now look at another type of plateau. The other type of plateau is volcanic plateau. We said volcanic mountains, they are formed from lavas that are acidic and viscous. But these lavas that are basaltic and they tend to be fluid or very hot, they flow far and solidify. So when they are flowing, they form successive sheets of basaltic lava. So these successive sheets of basaltic lava accumulate on top of one another to form sheets of plateau. So the plateau that is formed is called a volcanic plateau. Example of volcanic plateau, we have the Columbia Snake Plateau. Examples of volcanic plateaus that we have in the world, because they are mostly made from basaltic sheet, they are extended in form. We have Etren, which is in North Ireland, Columbia Snake Plateau in Colombia, South America. We also have the northwestern part axis of the Deccan Plateau. Let's look at a third type of plateau. A third type of plateau is called a dissected plateau. Like when you do biology, say let's dissect this rabbit. You now open it up and rip it up. So this piece of topography has been ripped up or dissected by various forms of erosion, mainly coastal and river erosion. So when the form or landform has been dissected, the duracost or the resistant dome that is remaining will now have many cravings by the sides, and it will now be a plateau that is formed from other existing plateaus or mountains. Examples of dissected plateau, we have the Scottish Highlands, the Jos Plateau, Footaginon Highland, which is the source of river Niger. We have Enugu Usuka Plateau in Nigeria and Kumasi Plateau in Ghana. The third type of landform is called plain. Plains are lowlands that are not only interesting in the way they look, but they are also very fertile for agricultural reasons and for settlement reasons because of the materials that form them over time. But apart from these plains that are formed by other existing materials, we have plains that has remained over time the way they are without being formed from anything. They had been like that after the separation or the theory that states that various parts of the earth were separated from hydrological structures or from the hydrosphere. The first type of plain that we have is called structural plains. Structural plains are places or plains that are structurally the way they are over time. They have horizontal bedding plains and they are natural lowlands. These natural lowlands have not been affected by tectonic processes or any form of earth movement. So because of that, they remain leveled, either leveled or undulating in a rolling topography in form of a straight land. So if you are here, you can see somebody in Ring Road or somebody in New Benin straight from where you are standing, because the land is either leveled or undulating. So structural lowlands that we have that has remained like that over time, we have the Russian platform. Because if you go to Russia, apart from where you have rivers, most of the lands are in mudflats or they are undulating land. And the Great Plains of United States of America and the central lowlands of Australia. Other forms of plains that we have plains of deposition or depositional plains. This is where the transportation that has taken place from erosion, when erosion happens or when denudation happens, the debris will now be transported and deposited in a particular place. So this deposition can be in form of swamp, it can be in form of delta, it can be in form of drift, then it can be in form of O-line, they can also be in form of lues. So all of them are depositional plains. Examples of depositional plains are mostly named after the materials that form them. We have depositional plains from river deposition. Examples of such forms, we have alluvial plain, flood plain, and deltic plain. Then plains formed from glacial deposition, we have till or drift plain, earthwash plain, or other glacial plains that form from unsalted fluvio-glacial materials. We also have plains from coastal deposition of wave action. Example of such, we have mudflats by the sea and tidal plains, estuarine plains or estuarine lowland or swamp due to the action of coast, where shingles, pebbles, and other forms of debris are being packed along the plains when they come from the cliff. Then examples of depositional plains that are formed from wind deposition or wind erosional action, we have Leos plain, O-line deposits, and other forms of deposition from wind erosion. Depositional plains are good sites for settlement and other form of agricultural usage. The last type of plain or the last form of lowlands that we have for this particular class today is called erosional lowland. The first one was depositional because it's transported by agents of erosion, but they were deposited in one place. Those ones are caused by debris. But this one that is erosional lowland is caused where the erosion takes place proper. That is the place that has been excavated to now form a lowland by agents of denudation, like running water, wind, or glacier. So when wind excavates a place in the desert, it will now leave a land to be flat that has been high before. So we now refer to those kind of plains either as paddy plains or penny plains. So those materials that are excavated from there will now be taken to form another depositional plain that is called O-line or Leos plain. Then we also have running water to excavate a place and form a lowland. When we hear paddy plain, that means the place is almost a plain but not a plain. It is a rolling topography or undulating topography. It will have some iceberg in between the lowlands. Mountains are good sites of defense, minerals, tourism, and the windward side is normally very fertile. There are also sites for quarry or for mining stones for building. They can also be used for hydroelectrical projects, especially where you have a hanging valley on the side of the mountain where water used to pass through as spring. These landforms can well be appreciated if you have seen the film Lord of the Ring or King Arthur that has been acted in Scotland. Plateaus are rich in gold, diamond, coal, copper, and other minerals. It's a good source of laterite stones that can be used for building or making cement. Example, in Nigeria, we have Abaji Plateau, which is a factory for Dangote cement. We also have iron, aluminium in Enugu Nsukka Plateau. Plateau is also a good source of tourism. And they are good sites for irrigation where flood is being accumulated through embankment and used for agricultural purposes. Mudflats are good sites for port or building of harbour and can also be used for tourism.